Have you ever, walked up to a yard sale on a quiet Saturday morning and thought to yourself, man, I am absolutely about to get taken to the cleaners? Well, today we're diving into an explainer breaking down what might just be the most ruthless, calculated, and frankly, terrifying display of bargaining ever captured on film. We're going to look at this brief, seemingly innocent little driveway interaction and treat it as exactly what it is, a high-stakes Harvard Business School level case study in pure psychological warfare. And the kicker? It is executed entirely by a child. We're going to pull apart the specific strategies, the emotional manipulation, and just the sheer audacity of this ultimate child negotiator. We'll see how a couple of bucks in a metal cash box can instantly turn into a complete battlefield of the mind. So let's jump right in. Okay, so the sheer, unbridled confidence of this opening gambit is just staggering. The kid walks right up to a $7 blender. Now, most of us, we'd probably just meekly ask, hey, will you take 5? But not our negotiator. No way. She counters with $4. But it's the reasoning she uses that is just pure genius. She says she'll give him 4 since you're wearing olive green, my favorite color. Think about that for a second. She's taking this entirely arbitrary detail, literally just the seller's wardrobe choice, and using it as a legitimate economic lever to demand a discount. It totally disarms the seller. It bypasses all normal financial logic and forces this adult to process this bizarre, unexpected compliment rather than actively defending the price of their merchandise. It's an absurd, but honestly incredibly effective way to establish absolute dominance from the very first syllable. But wait, she doesn't even stop at $4. Oh no, she drops the price again down to $3, executing what we're going to call the calcium stain maneuver. She casually tells the seller she's just going to pretend she didn't notice the calcium stains in the picture. Now, what's really fascinating here is how she weaponizes a minor and, let's be real, possibly completely invisible flaw. She isn't just asking for a lower price. She's framing it like she's doing the seller this massive favor by ignoring this supposed hygienic defect. Instantly, the already confused adult is put entirely on the defensive. Instead of arguing about the actual intrinsic value of the blender, the seller is suddenly panicking about the cleanliness of their own household appliance. It is literally textbook misdirection. And to put that into perspective, look at the immediate financial devastation of these rapid-fire tactics. We go from a $7 asking price plummeting all the way down to a $3 negotiated price in a matter of seconds. I mean, she slashed the price by more than half before the seller even had time to blink, let alone formulate a counterargument. This isn't your casual weekend haggling. This is practically a hostile takeover of a driveway transaction. It shows you exactly what happens when you combine an absurd illogical anchor price with immediate defensive misdirection. The seller's entire pricing structure has just totally collapsed. But our young negotiator, she knows that true victory requires completely breaking her opponent's spirit. The seller is clearly rattled by this pint-sized corporate raider and actually admits, "You're scaring me. I'm going to have to check with my dad." And the child's response? She doesn't miss a single beat. She fires right back with, "My dad says you don't look like you're worth the hassle. $3 is fine." Wow. Just wow. She successfully uses psychological intimidation to make the seller feel like a literal burden, an actual social nuisance to her own father. It totally accelerates the capitulation because now the seller just wants this deeply uncomfortable interaction to be over. They accept the $3 just to escape the psychic toll of the negotiation. So the really crucial thing to notice next is the aggressive acquisition spree that kicks off right after this surrender. She secured the $3 blender, right? But a true shark never stops swimming. She casually tries to just walk away with a Joan Baez record, claiming she thought it, quote, came with the blender. Let that sink in for a minute. She is attempting a ruthless bundle of a $20 vintage record with a $3 kitchen appliance. It's an absolute masterclass in assumed inclusion. And even though the seller momentarily pushes back on the $20 price tag for that record, the child has already pivoted. She's already set her sights on the biggest, most expensive prize on the lawn, the vacuum. Which brings us to a frankly astonishing escalation. Let's shift gears a bit to analyze what happens when standard negotiation tactics fail, and our buyer deploys pure, unadulterated emotional warfare. Let's call it the Aunt Judy pivot. She looks at the vacuum and claims her recently deceased Aunt Judy had the exact same one, mournfully stating, "It's just who my Aunt Judy was." Guys, she fabricates emotional trauma right there on the spot. She is literally weaponizing grief to secure a household cleaning appliance. The seller is instantly trapped. I mean, think about it. How do you possibly maintain a hard-line, cutthroat negotiation stance against a grieving child clutching a vacuum cleaner? You can't. It's an unblockable move. And the result of that emotional ambush? $50. The seller just concedes, "Okay, I'll let you have it for $50. I really want to emphasize this final price tag. While we don't even know what the original asking price for the vacuum was, the context pretty much tells us everything we need to know. We see that weaponized grief, when applied to a desperate, overwhelmed yard sale vendor, is incredibly effective. The seller folds completely, offering what is clearly a massive concession just to avoid feeling like a total monster who's denying a child a memento of her beloved, fictitious Aunt Judy. That emotional leverage translates directly into hard currency. But right here is where the dynamic of the whole scene completely flips on its head. After the deal is done, the emotional fog kind of lifts, and the seller realizes they've been utterly played. But instead of getting angry, they ask this phenomenal question. Did you use Vicine for the tears or onion powder? Let's just pause our financial breakdown for a second to ask this vital question with them, because it pivots this whole explainer straight out of economics and right into the dark, underlying psychology of the child's deception. The seller isn't furious, they're actually fascinated. They recognize the sheer artistry of the con that just took place. They know they got bested, and they just want to know the mechanics of the illusion. This builds into a deranged but highly effective method acting sequence. The child proudly reveals that they are, in fact, real tears. She outlines her highly structured two-step process for generating them on command. Step 1. Get in the headspace by dwelling on the bargains she's missed in the past. That is pure, unadulterated capitalist regret right there, being used as emotional fuel. Step 2. To actually get the physical tears flowing, she thinks about all the kittens that supposedly died during the filming of the movie Milo and Otis. I mean, we really have to slow down the pacing here to just appreciate the sheer, calculated manipulation at play. She has built a documented psychological trigger system designed specifically to extract discounts from unsuspecting adults on a weekend morning. It's wild. And this brilliant, completely absurd exchange leads to a super simple quote from the thoroughly defeated seller. I like you. It is the ultimate surrender, mixed with this surprising, genuine admiration. The seller just got bullied, psychologically intimidated, emotionally manipulated, and financially taken advantage of over a blender and a vacuum, and yet they're totally charmed by the sheer predatory perfection of the whole thing. So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on today. Is ultimate success in bargaining simply about keeping more money in your pocket? Or is true legendary victory about completely dominating the psychology of your opponent until they actually look at you and thank you for robbing them blind? Think about that the next time you try to haggle over a blender. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.